What's up, everybody?
Whoa. You talking and that beautiful music? Very distinguished.
Good
Very
evening.
Distinguished.
Smash that like button for us, guys. Welcome back to Unspecified Podcast. Good evening, Tiff.
Good evening.
Sorry for the late stream, guys. Okay.
Look, we're trying to get it back.
There's things, there's the stuff, and then there's oh man. So anyway, look, all right. There's a lot of wars and rumors of war type of stuff going on. But before we get into that, I have just a few videos I want to show you guys. Just following the narrative of like signs of the times with, crime on the rise, also a good guy with a gun. In this case, an elderly granny.
That's right.
With a shotty.
That's right. Wow.
At first I was like, so she's kind of just like concerned with this cabinet she shot through. She shot through the cabinet. And so she just stares at the cabinet for a minute. And then she starts to look outside.
You know what? I bet
she's in shock.
Yeah, or I was thinking that maybe she had a surveillance, like this camera.
Oh, and she's looking at that.
Yeah.
That's a much better.
If they're leaving,
Much better. Dap, what's up, brother? Dragon Slayer, good to see you. Good to see you, bro fist.
That's right. So that's what Granny's doing at 3 a.m. What are you doing? Go Granny. Okay, but listen.
Listen to what the guy says. At first I thought he was saying, they got through my armor, they got my armor, something like that. But no, listen.
She shot my arm off.
You know what they say, play stupid games.
That's right. But
shit, this is the another penultimate example of F around and find out.
Okay, first of all, mission loyalty was zilch. Okay, that second dude that was getting out of the car, they would have been had the upper hand at that point, but he was like, nah, Granny's got a shotgun, I'm out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so mission loyalty was 0. Second of all, the guy who said she shot my arm off has definitely watched Gross Skirts.
Right, so he does say, this is, and that's how funny is that? The other, during the, I don't even know if we can say Wildcat, the young Kyle, Kenosha.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've just, it's funny, the injury on the guy with a gun, because the Gross Squirt guy had the Glock.
That's right.
And was about to shoot the Wildcat, and he blasted him, and it blew his bicep off. And so this guy, he's screaming, what did he say?
She shot my arm off.
She shot my arm off.
They're driving off. This poor dude in the front seat. The dude's locked the door, okay? So, he can't get in. He's freaking out. You're going to leave me. Oh, no. Door's locked, okay? Oh.
They're about to leave him.
Right. So he's like, all right, forget this door. I'm going in the back. You boys screaming.
Yes, Dap, that is Norco. This happened in Norco, somewhere in LA.
Not Norco, Louisiana.
Not Norco, Louisiana. Somewhere Norco, Los Angeles.
California, yeah. So
I think it's Norco, Los Angeles. I don't know. It's the owner of Norco Market and Liquor didn't hesitate to open fire on a male suspect who walked into the store armed with a rifle. The would-be robber was heard running back to the car screaming, "He shot my arm off."
Oofda. Hands up. Nope.
Let's run through that again.
So she instantly puts her hand on it.
Granny's in shock.
Like,
Yeah, she does seem awfully worried about the cabinet. Or you're right, she has like a TV that she can see them.
white kids in the hood need to know that, like, you were the one getting sent in, okay? Like the white kid's gonna be the one that gets sent in. It's 2020. That's just the way it goes. These are your reparations.
No way, you have family that lives there. All are arrested. They were all caught, and the dude is alive and stable, but in critical condition. Also, BMW was stolen.
Wow. So he's like, I'm gonna go in. Oh, you know what? Nah, nope. I'm done. Let's go. Roll. Almost hit this car. This car is like, excuse me. You know, little does he know.
Man, but I mean, can you imagine the chaos in that car?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, we've all seen those scenes from like Reservoir Dogs or like, you know.
Because then everybody except the dude that got shot is like, ooh, if we take you to the hospital, we're all implemented. So...
In a stolen BMW.
Right.
From
like,
a crime scene.
You're sure a Band-Aid's not going to cover this? I got some quick clot. You think we could take the, you know... I see why people get taken to vets.
They come armed but are not ready for a gunfight. Insurance gonna be paying out a whole new car due to that blood. Whoa, that's true. I didn't even think of that. Whoa.
Whoa. Well, anyway, so yeah, if it was stolen, I suppose so.
Play stupid games. Real quick, can we just touch on this real quick? Did all this flash flood rain in Las Vegas help with Lake Mead?
I think yes, it had to have.
Well, we have a real quick 1-minute video from Digital Reporter.
Did the recent monsoonal downpours help Lake Mead's diminished water level? The short answer is not much. Even with some areas of the Las Vegas Valley and the other regions around the lake receiving 1 to 2 inches of rain over the last couple of days, Lake Mead's water level has barely budged. It has not risen or dropped any more than in the previous days. Lake Mead currently holds approximately 10 million acre-feet of water. The majority of this water is from melting snow in the Colorado Rockies. Lake Mead's official water level was 1,040.7 feet above sea level as of 5 p.m. Thursday. After almost 20 hours, the water level did rise, but only by 4 inches to 1,040.74. The Colorado River supplies nearly 90% of the water in southern Nevada. The remaining 10% comes from groundwater in the Las Vegas Valley. The Colorado River and 3 smaller tributaries, the Virgin and Muddy Rivers, as well as the Las Vegas Wash, feed Lake Mead.
So not much. So not much. Okay.
Well, that's surprising.
Okay. So, imagine being the car salesman.
Well, I don't know. It depends on your target market, you know.
Yeah, because there are some wholesale lots where you probably could, like, the people are like, but he didn't die in it. Nah, man, he didn't die in it.
Right.
We cleaned it out real good.
Fine. Right, and realistically, it's LA, so there's a chance that, you know what I mean? There's crime scene, like, no, I'm just kidding. But if you think, you know what I mean, like, super duper pro 2A folks might have a market for that. You know, like, this is the car where Granny.
Oh, actually, yeah. You remember that video? That's
you remember
this
Granny?
car. All right, so getting into more serious news, switching gears into the whole nuclear topic.
Wait, before we switch off, like, in this instance, you know, I guess it's hard to say I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Yeah, I am, because nobody died.
Right.
And, you know, had it gone the other way where she wasn't armed, we don't know that would have happened. I'm glad she's okay. I'm glad they left before, you know, more damage than was done. However, as we, like, the empathetic part of me wants to be like, okay, but now as times get harder and harder, you know, like, I don't know. It's, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, people are going to be stealing for food to feed their kids.
It does say in the Bible, Jesus says that a man that runs out to defend his house, that house will be well guarded. I know it kind of goes
right.
like But like,
But it also says if a man would take your
Well, no,
shirt, don't deny him your cloak too, or something like that.
that's
right?
true too. But someone who's ready and has already,
Right.
done the due diligence to think all the way through and like.
These guys, I'm going to make it a judgment that they're not trying to feed their families here. I could
we
be
don't
wrong.
know.
I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. But I'm just saying it doesn't seem like, I don't know. Like that weapon says that you came for more than just a bag of chips. You know what I mean? Like that weapon says you came to cause problems.
Yeah, why did you show up to a liquor store robbery looking like you're trying to rob a bank?
Right.
Because this, I don't know. But then again, that is an old school, armed robbery tactic. Was supposed to be like, you're supposed to go in hard and strong and intimidate. So like, I guess
some folks don't like to be intimidated.
Had he went in there shooting, then he probably I don't know. Maybe he probably still would have got shot. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it ended the way it did in the sense that, but
play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Anyway, okay, moving in. UN chief warns world is one step from nuclear annihilation.
Did the clock move? We were like 100 seconds to midnight.
I don't know about the clock. The United Nations chief warned Monday that humanity is just one misunderstanding, one miscalculation away from nuclear annihilation. Citing the war in Ukraine, nuclear threats in Asia and the Middle East, and many other factors, Secretary General Antonio Guterres gave the dire warning at the opening of the long-delayed high-level meeting to review the landmark 50-year-old treaty aimed at preventing the spread of nuclear weapons and eventually achieving a nuclear-free world. Okay, sure. Right. The danger of increasing nuclear threats and a nuclear catastrophe was also raised by the United States, Japan, Germany, the UN, nuclear chief, and many other opening speakers at the meeting to review progress and agree to future steps and implement the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, known as the NPT. U.S. Secretary of State Antony. Yeah, there you go. Antony Blinken said North Korea is preparing to conduct its 7th nuclear test. Iran has either been unwilling or unable to accept a deal to return to the 2015 nuclear agreement aimed at reining in its nuclear program, and Russia is engaged in reckless, dangerous nuclear saber rattling in Ukraine. He cited Russia President Vladimir Putin's warning after its February 24th invasion that any attempt to interfere would lead to consequences you have never seen, emphasizing that his country is one of the most potent nuclear powers. And I was just listening to someone else earlier talking about China having hypersonic weapons.
Right.
And I believe so does Russia. Moving into that topic, I don't know if you guys heard about this. The Potato says that there was a U.S. airstrike killed Al-Qaeda leader. Let's see.
My fellow Americans.
Oh, boy.
On Saturday, at my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed the emir of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. You know, Zawahiri was bin Laden's leader. He was with him the whole time. He was his number 2 man, his deputy at the time. My fellow Americans.
I thought he was in isolation.
I don't know. This just feels
so
like...
he's just not sick anymore?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So many things I could say.
I mean, yeah. So there's that. Okay, you know what I mean.
This just feels like, hey, look at. I did a thing.
Distraction.
I did a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the right hand's doing this. Hey, look over here. Look over here. But where are they? You know, what are they doing now? It makes my ears bleed. I'm sorry about that, Robin. All right, switching gears. Here are the 5 Chinese military response scenarios if Pelosi visits Taiwan. So 5 Chinese military response scenarios if Pelosi visits Taiwan.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry I'm just skipping through all this, but it's all the passive and not so passive threats from China. They're straight up like you know.
Right. Pray for her.
Right. Pray for her. Scenario 1, the minimalist approach. The PLA occupies Jinmen or Matsu Islands, as well as Taiwan's islands in the South China Sea, and maybe even the Pinghu Islands. They also declare part of all the Taiwan Strait a no-go zone to foreign military shipping. This would probably be fairly easy for the PLA, and Taiwan would probably not want to overcommit to naval action against the huge PLA Navy if it didn't directly approach the main island. Scenario 2, which is hybrid warfare, some sort of partial Navy and aerial blockade of Taiwan intended to interfere with the economy, combined with stepped-up harassment, such as direct flyovers of Taiwan's territory by PLA Air Force jets, or incursions into Taiwan's maritime space by China's naval militia, protected by planned warships, which I'm assuming that's their whole, like, USA
Right.
planned PLA.
Yeah,
the People's something, I don't know.
The PLA Navy is planned.
People Liberation Army or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This might also be accompanied by cyber attacks designed to shut down the internet and other infrastructure for days at a time. Taiwan would have no choice to assert a stiff defensive posture, resulting in real engagements between Taiwanese and Chinese forces, posing a serious risk of escalation. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's scenario 2.
Right.
Okay.
It only gets worse.
Yeah. Scenario 3, a serious attack but no invasion. This would involve air and sea warfare only, no boots on the ground, a full aerial and naval blockade, protracted set of naval and aerial battles designed to degrade Taiwan's military, combined with ballistic missile attacks on military targets, aggressive cyber attacks turning off the internet, and shutting down critical infrastructure for days or weeks. Once air and naval superiority were established, China could pick off targets at will, ratcheting up the threat until the government breaks.
Well, if they didn't have these plans before, they certainly do now.
Scenario 4, the full Monty, a proper invasion. Okay. Total air and sea blockade, massive ballistic missile attacks on military targets, massive cyber attacks to paralyze virtually all military, governmental, and civilian communication and shut down critical infrastructure. Aggressive naval and aerial engagements to degrade Taiwan's forces and achieve battle space superiority, followed by sustained aerial assaults by fighters and bombers on military targets. A decapitation strike at Taipei by special forces units to try to seize key leadership personnel. Well-coordinated insider treason and sabotage actions by gangsters. Planted CCP agents and other groups sympathetic to China, the so-called Fifth Column, and amphibious assault with close air support from fighters, helicopters, and battle drones at one or more location in Taiwan, and very possibly a move to seize a major port, such as Keelung, Taipei Port, Taichung, or Kaohsiung. Then hundreds of thousands of troops would start rolling in until the island was occupied. That would be the plan anyway. PLA's success in such an endeavor is very unclear, but they could do a heck of a lot of damage trying, and yes, they might actually succeed, at least partially, such as in seizing and holding the region around Taipei, which is up here.
Wow.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? I chip in $5. Bro Fist, Jason, what's up? What's up?
Okay, wow. Okay, and then what's did you read the fifth scenario?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Scenario 5, worst case short of nuclear scenario, full air and sea blockade, massive ballistic missile attacks on military targets, massive cyber attack, aggressive naval and aerial attacks to degrade Taiwan's forces and achieve battlefield superiority, followed by aerial assaults by fighters and bombers on military targets and area bombing of civilian targets. There are massive casualties and Taiwan is crushed by brute force, okay? Which you'll hear others later in other articles talking about how China has a very brute force policy, okay? Surrenders Okay, brute force surrenders, and then occupiers enter the country and take it over. Question: if Pelosi goes to Taiwan, how will the White House find out on television? Jay Kirby: the speaker is flying aboard a U.S. military aircraft. We will know. Question: if Pelosi goes to Taiwan, how will the White House find out on television? Like on television?
Right, on television?
Right.
But why wouldn't she tell them ahead of time, I guess? So I had heard that she will be going, and it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 9 or 10 a.m. tomorrow local time.
That's right. Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
or East Coast, 9 or 10 a.m. East Coast.
Yeah, that's right. So, we'll just see.
Kirby blamed China's actions of, staging provocative military drills both across from Taiwan and elsewhere in South China Sea as a sign Beijing appears to be positioning itself to potentially take further steps in the coming days and perhaps over a longer time horizon, he added. Let's see. These potential steps from China could include military provocations, such as firing missiles in the Taiwan Strait or around Taiwan. Kirby further repeated the White House stance that it won't interfere with members of Congress making their own decisions on visiting Taiwan.
Wow.
Indications China military might respond to Pelosi trip. Kirby: escalation in Taiwan Strait serves no one's interest. U.S. will ensure Pelosi's safety if she visits Taiwan. Kirby said that. White House says, we will not take the bait, nor will we be intimidated.
Well, okay, so then what's the middle line?
Kirby on Taiwan. Pelosi has not confirmed her travel plans. Pelosi has the right to visit Taiwan. That's what this Kirby dude said.
Right.
Russia says, don't cross our red lines in Ukraine or we'll take action. U.S. Politicians, they're bluffing. Cross those red lines. Russia invades. China, don't cross our red lines in Taiwan or we'll take action. U.S. politicians, they're bluffing. Cross those red lines. Yeah,
well, there you
exactly. Go. Okay, so buckle up, man. Things could get real quick.
That's right. But pray, pray. God,
right. Well,
God
I mean, I'm just saying that these things are wars and rumors of wars that these things must come to pass.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And that, at a certain point in prophecy, that the bear is told to go and devour much flesh.
That's right.
And I don't think necessarily the folks at the top right now are your friends.
Right.
Okay. I'm just trying to say they don't have your best interest at heart. They're doing their own trading. They're lining their own pockets.
Yep.
And you guys know what I'm talking about. And so we need to be thinking ahead.
Whether or not you like
solar power,
yep.
You know what I mean? Right. We need to be talking batteries, inverters, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Wind turbines. Dragon Slayer sent a really great, what's that called? Open source. It's basically building survival items out of repurposed materials. That's like, dude, if I could do something, like, I would love to go and do that.
Well, let's start doing it.
Yeah, I'm totally about it. I mean, I'm basically doing that in my garage and around the house. But yeah, that's awesome. The Guitar Man with all them fine little China dolls. Haha, she in trouble.
Right.
Dopey dude, what's up?
Jay says, if anything happens to Nancy, would anybody really care? About Nancy personally, probably, I'll say probably not, just in the sense of really, other than her direct
really
family,
more about
but it's the implications
what
it
you
has
should
on
care
the rest
about
of the world.
Is how how this is kind of symbolically her intentionally pissing off, or like you see here in this tweet, crossing that red line.
Right.
Oh, you're like, okay, because now it's turning into the two big kids on the block.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're eventually, they got to find out who's tougher.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like, yeah, she has the right to go, but does she have the right to...
Well, no, that's not in question here. What's in question here is now it's optics of power. Because China has had... just like us, in 2020 with all the protests, China right now is going through bank protests. They have their own housing crisis going on, and a lot of, revolt in their own country. So, like, they really, like, pretty much, like I said, in another article you're going to see where they were talking about they have very brute force policy. So, like, when they shut something down, it's not like Portland.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So I don't know. I think that now it's all about I ain't no wussy. You know what I mean? And they're gonna make a show of force. And and this is us being
Yes.
like, we're not gonna be intimidated.
Right, because that's very much what it is. It's either okay, we back down and we look weak, or we push on, and then they have to make the choice of looking weaker. So,
Dragon
but
Slayer, absolutely, man.
in doing so, like, yes, she has the right to go, but does she have the right to basically, put all of us on the line in a potential World War III scenario that it could cause?
China's retaliation will not just target Pelosi. The Biden administration will also have to face the serious consequence of a comprehensive setback of China-U.S. relations. But guys, think back. New York Times, New York PSA, don't ask me how or why, but
Right.
the big one has hit.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would they put that out?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this guy was supposed to be in isolation right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
no, he's here talking about okay, come on, what's really going on?
The
You know
last
what I mean?
time a PSA like that was put out in New York was in the 60s. I think it was in like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
An international game of chicken. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you. That's the link I was talking about. Dragon Slayer sent me earlier. Open source, low tech. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah.
Yep.
We need to be independent. We need to come up with our own power. It's not hard.
Yep. That's
It's
right.
really not hard.
So, love, hate, indifferent, whatever your thoughts are on Nancy, I would suggest, pray for the situation.
The Chinese army will surely eliminate Pelosi's visit's consequence through the escalation of military operations. As a result, this will make her dejected and humiliated. Global Times commentator Hu Jinxin, who says, let's see what this is. Because they also released this like the Maritime Administration and Qinglan, South China's Hainan, issued a warning on Monday and prohibited entry to an area in the South China Sea due to military exercises from Tuesday to Saturday. Military exercises. Let's go ahead and get some stretching going
That's right,
on.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
They think we bluffing.
Oh, yeah, Guitar Man. He plays all those guitars, except for this 12-string. He don't play that one as much, but
Yes, I do.
not as often as the other ones.
All right. China warns its military will not sit idly by if Pelosi visits Taiwan. Okay.
China said on Monday that its military not sit idly by if the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi visits Taiwan. The latest warning.
Yep, go ahead. Yeah, that's my fault.
The latest warning was issued during a Chinese Foreign Ministry regular briefing. Spokesperson Zhao Lijian, if I said that wrong,
No,
also said that because of Pelosi's status as the number 3 official in the U.S. government, a visit to Taiwan, which China claims as its own, would lead to egregious
This is
political
egregious!
impact. Pelosi was set to kick off a tour of 4 Asian countries on Monday in Singapore amid intense speculation that she may risk the wrath of Beijing by also visiting self-ruled Taiwan.
Boom. Local
Okay.
media say, despite China warnings.
So, yeah, that's where Tuesday, Yep, so tomorrow morning, local. Okay, I like the one, where's the one that,
With all the Chinese
yeah.
military stuff. Somewhere.
She hasn't even confirmed the travel yet, but officials at the Pentagon are telling the Associated Press that if Speaker Pelosi does indeed go next month, the military would provide security.
Right, she's on a military plane. New York. Store locks down cans of spam amid crime wave.
What?
This goes along with the rise of crime thing that I'm telling you.
Yeah, but that's...
Okay. It might be low level stuff, but there definitely is, people are getting pinched, and some folks are getting desperate. A combination of inflation and rising crime has caused one New York City store to lock up its spam and plastic theft prevention cases. I mean, this just makes you think in like a World War Z zombie apocalypse situation. You know, that, like, they're going to be in little there's these little cases are going to be everywhere.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If they, like...
Where do you even get those? How much is that?
Shoppers at Duane Reade, located in Port Authority Bus Depot, were faced with the secured cans, which cost $3.99 each. I've never seen that before, laughed one cashier while removing a can Spam from its anti-theft covering. Here we are, guys. You best be believing in dystopic futures. That's like I mean, it's their house, their rules. I believe in property rights.
Right.
You know, if that's what the business wants to do, if they want to treat their customers like that. It's not a huge deal. It's just I don't know. Weird.
I like this. Hold on. The thoroughly revamped loss prevention regime at the Port of Authority Duane Reade has finally created something of beauty. A sort of Jeff Koons homage. I'd love to have one to keep, case and all, but there's only one way to do that. Too funny. Well, you know, that's you never think you'd see something like that, but
this is a good one. I don't know if we can necessarily talk about this without getting absolutely yanked, but I would suggest you guys go check it out.
Ah, yes.
It just came out today, if you want to Google that. Let her go to Taiwan, but pray for her. Chinese state media sends grim warning to Senator Nancy Pelosi, and Red Army releases video of missile strikes ahead of trip tomorrow night, as Taipei says prepare for war and cancels military leave. Okay. The
Ooh.
Chinese... Yeah, this is from Daily Mail. Okay.
Right.
The Chinese People's Liberation Army had issued another warning to Nancy Pelosi ahead of potential trip. But let's get right to this video. Is this the one? Yeah, it's all like... America, if yeah. No, but it's flipped now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But everyone's like, don't worry, don't worry.
Say welcome to the jungle without saying welcome to the jungle.
Yes, Dragon Slayer, I can do that.
It feels like, I don't know what those words said.
So, I mean, do they have a knockoff military? Or, I mean, or are we going to F around and find out? I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you
because
this.
if they're building, their housing units.
I'll tell you this, the Obama administration severely hindered our military. And like he was all, you know, their focus was not on military keeping it up. It was, in fact, it cut down. And so, you know, the Trump administration did try to build that up to an extent, but like we're not at.
Well, he only built it up for 4 years,
Yeah.
guys. Okay, now we're back to 2 years of a de facto Obama.
But this looks like some countries have been really focusing on military for a few decades, and it shows, you know. And some countries have been worried about what their pee-pee looks like. I bet those missiles don't care what their gender is.
Yeah, and so the TikTok version of that software in China is used to educate their citizens, and that TikTok software in the U.S. is basically to dumb us down and
Right.
to shorten their attention spans. You know.
That's embarrassing.
Let her go to Taiwan, but pray before departure. Wish herself a safe journey, and wish herself not be defined by history as a sinner who starts a spiral of escalation process, expanding military frictions to a large-scale war in the Taiwan Strait. Now, if she comes out and says something like, let them eat cake, okay.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, I'll tell you, I had a dream a few years ago about, it was right after you showed me Red Dawn for the first time, so I really blame the movie. But I did have a dream that I came out the house and there were Chinese soldiers parachuting in, like falling in, just like in the movie. You know, the newer one where you can really see him falling in.
Really?
That stuck with me. Just that one split second of an image.
Yeah, because it isn't on the screen for very long.
Yeah.
We would like to tell the United States once again that China is standing by. The Chinese People's Liberation Army will never sit idly by, and China will take resolute responses and strong countermeasures to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, Zhao told a regular daily briefing. Asked what kind of measure the PLA might take, Zhao said. If she dares to go, then let us wait and see. The White House has also sent mixed messaging on the trip. Initially, President Biden said he didn't think it was a good idea, but last week, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said it was ultimately her decision. Kirby was also on CNN on Monday morning criticizing the Chinese for the rhetoric. There is no reason for the Chinese rhetoric. There's no reason for any actions to be taken. It is very much in keeping with our policy. Pelosi kicked off a tour of 4 Asian countries in the early hours of Monday morning in Singapore amid intense speculation that she may risk the wrath of Beijing by also visiting self-ruled Taiwan. Hold up, though. I'm really, gonna... come on. I mean...
Okay, so... Hold on, I gotta cough.
No, you're fine.
Oh, forgive me. So to me, military members, active duty, there's like no travel zones. So like if we're kind of hot with a country, you can't go there. And I'm sure China is one of them right now. It's been so long since I've paid attention to that list, but if military members don't have the right to, and I agree, I understand that Taiwan is independently owned, by their own say-so, and we agree with that.
Right.
But if China says it's theirs, I don't know. I'm just saying she has the right to do that, but then why don't military, so I'm just... Because it's a conflict of interest. Military members can't go over there because if they were to be captured or anything, they could be a liability to our country.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. I thought she was the highest law enforcement officer of the...
I don't know that. I know that she's third in the line. Gosh, I hope not.
Third in line. The House Speaker touched down in Singapore just before 4:30 a.m. local time, where Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong urged her at meeting to strive for stable ties with Beijing. A press release from Pelosi's office on Sunday said she would visit 4 Asian countries: Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, and Japan. What if this is the distraction? Because maybe she needs something new in the media and the zeitgeist to go around and distract from her husband's embarrassment, perhaps?
Perhaps, I don't know. I am inclined to think that if she was really going, they wouldn't announce it. But again, I don't know. Tomorrow will tell.
Tomorrow will tell. Tomorrow we will see. The House Speaker, a press release from, during Monday's visit in Singapore, Pelosi and Lee discussed climate change and economic stability. He also highlighted the importance of stable U.S.-China relations for regional peace and security. Later, she will attend a cocktail party at the American Chamber of Commerce. But it is her potential visit to Taiwan that is overshadowing the whole trip.
Yeah, no, okay, if we think about this 4D chess-wise...
Right.
China has Biden. We all know that. Like Biden is
ain't that the truth? Yeah.
So, do you think he's really going to go against them? So, at first, he thought it was a bad idea, right? I think that they sat and talked to Nancy. She agreed it was a bad idea. And then they come out and were like, well, no, it's our choice. We're going to do it if we want to do it, just to kind of give the front of not being afraid. But ultimately, I don't think she's going to go. But we shall see.
Yes, we shall. We shall.
Anyway.
China's been working on drone swarms that operate in a pack-like manner. Say, what? Awesome, Nail Tech. What's up? Good to see you. Okay, so I think I'm going to back off of the Nancy Pelosi topic for the evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've beat the dead horse to death.
Beating it. Switching gears. ICE captures high-ranking MS-13 leader in Maryland. So...
all kinds of high rankers taken today, huh?
Baltimore, deportation officers with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations Baltimore Task Force Unit arrested a high-ranking member of the notorious MS-13 street gang in Annapolis. June 15th, ERO Baltimore's fugitive operations and the FBI assisted with the apprehension. Jose Mojica Aldana, a native and citizen of El Salvador, was arrested near his residence. Mojica Aldana entered the United States without being inspected, admitted, or paroled by an immigration officer. This is a significant arrest and substantial hit to MS-13 in the Annapolis area. So we got MS-13 nationwide, huh?
I guess so.
Okay.
But that's just news to know.
Yep. Signs of the times and a rise in certain kind of thing.
That's right.
So look at how so this is essentially what I want to talk about. Okay. Opinion. Right-wing sheriff's groups setting the stage for another,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Y'all see that, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. The New York Times recently published a must-read investigation into the right-wing activist efforts to organize county sheriffs for the purpose of challenging the electoral system based on 2020 election rigging disinformation, which they call it disinformation. But look at how they spin it. Okay, this is MSNBC. Right-wing sheriffs are doing some really shady political organizing against the electoral. See, you see what I'm saying?
Oh, same story, different points of view.
The rise of increasingly radical police forces inspired by radical sheriffs across the nation poses real dangers in the future. Reaffirming that whole this is a radical thing.
Right.
Okay. You know who this reminds me of? Lavoie.
Well, it reminds
Lavoie Finicum.
To me, it looks like like team captains. Like if you're on these teams, go here. Basically, all this removing and stuff, we're just resetting the lines of what could potentially be the next Civil War. I don't know. I feel like we're taking a very Cersei Lannister approach where, I don't know, whoever wants to invade, whether it be Russia or China, is hoping that we'll do a civil war first, and then they can just feed on whatever is left over.
Right. Well, that's what, I heard someone talking about. Love to Garden, what's up? So good to see you. Someone was saying something about balkanization, and then I also heard later in the conversation that with the assault weapons ban, that it's like, so it seems like they're trying to pick a fight because they know exactly what kind of rhetoric that encourages from the Second Amendment community.
Right.
Where they're like, war, you
right.
You can't, we're not giving up ish, right? You know what I mean? So, of course, that I agree with that. I'm just saying that, it seems like they're trying to pick a fight here at home between red and blue.
Right.
And cops and criminals and then,
race and then left
you,
and
you,
right.
You can look at all the dividers you want, but there's a clear attack here. Somebody's throwing everything they can to get something to pop.
That's right.
Okay.
Any group that will fight with any other group, please stand up.
Yeah, there you go. And so this is just putting folks in boxes, is what this is.
That's right.
That's what they've got to do. The New York Times recently published a must-read investigation into right-wing activists' efforts to organize county sheriffs for the purpose of challenging the electoral system based on 2020 election rigging disinformation. And this is a cool little tidbit of information you should know, that your sheriff is the most powerful sitting elected official in your area.
It's like we're the same mind. I was going to say
yeah,
the exact
I could
same
feel
thing.
that you were wanting to say that. And so basically, for example, your sitting sheriff, elected sheriff of your town, okay,
right.
could, I know that a lot of you would disagree with this, but for the purposes of so your sheriff could arrest the president.
In his
jurisdiction, a sheriff could arrest a previous president, could arrest, he's a higher authority than anyone else.
In your turf. That was my understanding as well.
I know that other people immediately be like, rah, 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 but that was my basic understanding.
Right.
That, the sheriff, and so this is apparently very scary to them, and there's already a smear campaign against it.
Well, before Wuhan and all that got crazy, I don't know if anybody remembers this so many events ago, but the 2A was really under heavy attack right before, like in the last 2 quarters of 2019. There was a lot of movement against 2A, and you were seeing a lot of
But
sheriffs.
what about right before 2019? Right before the lockdowns?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like
yeah.
in that November, I think it was, there
There
that
was
big protest.
Hundreds
and it
of
went
thousands of people in
beautifully.
Richmond, Virginia. Yeah.
They were all armed.
Completely
there was
peaceful.
not one incident.
They cleaned up the streets.
They cleaned the streets. You could not have asked for a more polite society. But then again, an armed society is a polite
That's
society. And so, at any rate, all that went off, and that was really showing people, oh, you can, and then boom, COVID, and so, I don't know, we've fallen along, but in that time, West Virginia was coming out as a sanctuary. You had sheriffs that were coming out and saying, no, we're going to be a, what did they call that,
Constitutional.
No, it was like a
2A section.
annex kind of like. Basically, we're going to be a safe haven, against these. I can't think of the word.
Tyrannical.
Right now. Yeah, against the tyrannical laws, they were going to be like a safe haven, a safe place. And so anyway, it's just interesting that we're seeing that again.
This is not quite an emergency yet, but it is deeply troubling because it's yet another sign of the right's efforts to seriously organize and mobilize to destroy the integrity of the electoral process. You hear that? Have you ever heard malarkey? I mean, come on, guys, am I alone here? I mean, this doesn't sound like malarkey. This is insane right now. So we are essentially in a civil war, and it is still a war of ideas. So it's still a philosophical war. So that's why warrior poets are necessary. Okay?
I thought of a new acronym for MSNPC, but I'd have to swear, so I won't. That's
right, Paisan. A divided house can't stand.
That's right.
Yes, looking for leaders and heroes.
That's biblical, if a house divided against itself, that's how the devil works. So, like, his house will not stand.
Let's see. It's another thing to band together with others and think up strategies for meddling in them, and to have powerful law enforcement officials as the people banding together means that this could spiral well beyond a typical symbolic show of dissent. Per the Times, 3 sheriffs affiliated with these groups from Michigan, Kansas, and Wisconsin have butted heads with election officials when the sheriffs pursued investigations into 2020 election fraud. Holy crap.
I don't know, but you know what I keep thinking about? Do you remember that one riot where there was that one guy who stole... Okay, so there's these 2 guys that stole a weapon out of the back of a police car.
Remember.
Yeah, and the guy took the weapon from them.
Yeah, he was a Marine.
Yeah, Grantham had him on, and
interviewed him.
He was like the original hero of the 2020 riots.
That's right.
But anyway, that riot was way more crazy than J.
Yeah, and every single rioter there was paid and bussed in by Soros. I mean, I'm sure that that's not 100% what happened with all and every single one of them, but a large majority.
The first ones were
lot of your Antifa are organized. Okay, they use the good time, get drunk, get high party folks.
That's right.
As body shields. They keep all the good timers in the front, the newbies that don't know what's going on first protest. And they organize with bottles and shields behind all of them, and they cause... Anyway, that went too far.
Okay, I'm sorry. My brain, I was sidebarring while you were talking. I believe the Mason-Dixon line was... correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe the Mason-Dixon line was accepted as the line for the Civil War. Am I wrong?
Mason-Dixon.
Yeah, wasn't that basically accepted as the line of where,
around Kentucky and Missouri.
Okay, so then do you think the Mississippi rivers would be the... What do you think would be the line? There probably wouldn't be a line because it's too meshed right now.
No, you're talking about, like, break-up balkanization.
Yeah, I am. And that's probably outdated.
Here, I'm going to try and show you something from my Twitter. Link in the description.
What would you do with a drunken sailor?
Look here.
Early in
That's
the
what you're looking at.
morning.
For, I mean, if you were going to start to talk like, you know.
Ew.
What?
I'm disappointed at how much blue is around us. Really? Arkansas and Mississippi.
Kelly, what's up? Peter Van Nort, good morning.
I'll
Brofist.
admit, I'm a little disappointed, Mississippi.
Birdie Boy is in Kentucky. That's awesome.
I expected as much from Louisiana, but Mississippi?
So, you know, the Mississippi is like right through here.
Yeah, no, but
No.
why?
So, like, all of the South and, like, I don't know. Most normal people aren't really, you know, too polarized. They may, you know, a lot of your Second Amendment dudes are, like, single-issue voters.
What the heck is that one county up there in North Dakota? Absolutely not. I call bullshit. I don't believe
A little
this.
bit of the Canadian drip down there.
Whatever.
And got it.
That's them oil field mofos, okay? They came up there for the wrong reasons.
All right, so switching gears. More crime, you know what I mean? Gunned down. LA fitness shooting in San Antonio. That's Texas.
Yeah.
Man shot and killed while working out inside gym as cops swarm Blanco Road Plaza. A man has reportedly been shot to death while working out at a LA fitness. According to local reports, San Antonio police said the fatal shooting appeared to be targeted.
Point just being nowhere. I mean, there's a rise in crime, but it's everywhere, you know?
That's right.
Be good to people because folks is holding grudges.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I saw this one dude last night in a video. I didn't want to show it to you guys. You know what I mean? Because it's just a dude at a gas station who, like, pulls out a machete.
Yep.
And then that same guy comes back later. I guess, I don't know why.
There's another guy on a bike.
There's another guy on a bike, and I don't know, man.
And the guy comes up and he pulls the machete, and the guy on the bike he reaches into his pocket like he's got a gun, like, don't mess with me, I've got a gun. And the guy with the machete backs off, comes back, he parks weirdly, and then comes back a few minutes later with a gun, walking at him, walks right up to him and shoots him right in the face.
And
like,
I mean,
just
he walked at him across from the parking lot. I mean, he walked at him a long time. Anyway, there's a lot of shooting going on.
The guy survived.
The guy that got shot in the head.
That's right.
Amen. You know what I mean? Because that's the real truth here. Science.
Not even in the head,
science,
like,
but
in
like
the face.
That's what I'm saying. And I know that you can say, well, it was just a low caliber. Whatever, dude. I'm saying if it's not your time,
right.
The Lord controls that
That's
stuff.
Right. Do you remember that one Civil War picture we saw of that dude with his
family?
With
a hole in his
head.
He
had a hole right smack dab between his eyeballs, or his eyebrows at least. And it was a gaping hole. And his family was there loving him and everything.
Yeah. Buck.
He looked grumpy, though.
We are being hit with frequency, weapons, dues, alters behavior.
Yeah.
Bro, I have to totally agree with you with no proof whatsoever to show. There's just, you know, with the lakes drying up, people, these heat waves, but then people are, like, making fun of the people.
Even 5-7, you know? Like, these are frequencies that we have not been
When she references 5-7, she's referring to the number 5 and the 7th letter in the alphabet.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And you guys can, you know, 7th letter of the alphabet. We need to ban knives now. Come on, this crap is stupid.
Hey, Love to Garden, don't hold your tongue. Do you know that, like, some
in
countries...
the UK,
yeah, like,
you're not allowed to have a kitchen knife with a tip on it. That's coming.
Well,
because, like, straight up, they've been...
Some countries, like, if you premeditate self-defense, that's illegal.
I believe that, Dragon Slayer. I've seen it for myself. Close range, pest disposal with a .22. You know, growing up, that's just how it was. Okay, you know, if certain circumstances would require.
That's right.
You know,
Birdie Boy, I believe that too, because look, somebody had commented and was talking about that, like, under these buildings, they work on it, and under these buildings, there's basically, dang it, who was it?
President
I
Charlotte sometimes. Good morning. I'm sorry, I had to say good morning.
Good morning. But anyway, there was somebody who was saying that basically they have water lockers under the buildings. and that like you can basically get like several acres worth.
They also have diversion rivers and whatnot that, in order to build those dams, that a whole lot of water had to be stored to create a dry dam so that they could build the dam and then release the water back.
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
So the river actually, like, it flowed to the point and then back. Okay, these dudes were crazy. We just watched a video on the building of the Oroville Dam.
Oh, yeah,
I wish we could watch that with you guys. Seriously, back in I guess that was the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, I think.
We could move and build a mountain. I'm talking about
Literally.
these dudes. I mean,
you should see them. I mean, like these.
I'm telling you, I theorize technology works backwards. It's
now,
called
we peaked.
It's called controlled obsolescence. Back then, their dozers and their machines,
right.
they could build literally whatever infrastructure that they so desired with the help of a few engineers.
That's right.
Okay, you tell these boys what to do with these machines, and they can build it. You know what I mean? And now, okay. Look at the crumbling infrastructure. And now the policy with government is, well, if that bridge ain't broke yet, we're not going to fix it. If that road ain't washed out yet, we ain't going to fix it.
That's right.
They'd rather, and then so you see, guys, I don't know. So definitely be praying and be about your P's and Q's. You need to be storing stuff up. Start focusing on independence of your own power and your own water. You know what I mean? And you can get there, especially with the Lord's help.
That's right.
Ask anything in His name.
Yep.
Here, so speaking of all the crime, okay, just check this out. George Soros says it's not his fault violent crime is on the rise. Liberal billionaire George Soros rejected accusations that his decade-long effort to install liberal prosecutors has led to crime waves in some of America's largest cities.
T-Girl, we are happy to have you. Unspecified V is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Dude, Unspecified V, what is up? Good evening. Love ya. Awesome. There is more water in underground rivers than there is above. But Kentucky does not have a natural lake. They are all man-made, but there are more navigable waterways in Kentucky.
It's interesting because technically one of the commandments is to not have any graven images of beasts of the heaven or in the waters beneath the earth or within. Dang it, I gotta look it up because I don't want to misquote. But it's basically like waters under the waters of the earth. And so, like, if you think about this, like underground water,
Right.
I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. And there's beasts in there.
Ashes,
so,
what's up? Good evening.
I don't like to. Okay, I do.
Soros acknowledged in a Wall Street Journal op-ed,
Yes, sorry.
published Sunday that crime was on the rise around the country, but he said it couldn't be attributed to the policies championed by liberal prosecutors that he has invested over $40 million throughout the past decade to help elect. Hold up. That reminds me of someone in the Kenosha courthouse. Banger! He was a prosecutor. I believe that he was a Soros prosecutor.
Wow. Isn't his motto kind of, though, like, if I didn't do it, somebody else would?
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, this dude back in World War II was selling Jews out to the Nazis. And then, and I'm talking about, I believe he was a Jew. Or he would act like a Jew.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he would sell out Jewish families to the Stasi, the Schützenstaffel, whatever the Nazis were, you know what I mean? And then when they were sold out and they got the families raided and whatever, he would collect all the valuables in the homes and sell it. And he considered it's not bad because if he wasn't doing it, someone else would be, which is a very Gnostic, Satanist, liberal,
Right.
That's a very evil, that there's nothing wrong, in their view, in their eye, there's nothing wrong with doing evil because if they don't do it, someone else will.
Right.
Which is...
Right, basically, like, it might as well be me, because if it's not me, I'm just... Which makes sense if you think about, like, so we talk about the president just being a face in a role, a puppet in a seat, okay? So if you think about it in that terms, he's right, because it's just another face in a role. If it wasn't him, somebody else would have. But that's a weak cop-out. That's a terrible moral, excusing of yourself.
Some politicians and pundits have tried to blame recent spikes in crime on the policies of reform-minded prosecutors, Soros wrote. Reform-minded. You mean recidivist-minded. Okay. The research I've seen says otherwise. The most rigorous academic study analyzing data across 35 jurisdictions shows no connection between the election of reform-minded prosecutors and local crime rates. Okay, sure, bud. All right.
Birdie Boy says there will be a curveball soon to where the past 2 years will be somewhat irrelevant. I fully agree.
That's what we're praying for.
Well,
Don't
are we
lose
praying
hope. Don't
for
lose
that?
hope. What do you mean? Praying for a massive power change to where we see a reversal and we see things, you know,
Yes. I'm sorry. I was taking it a different way.
Oh, maybe I misheard. I didn't read it.
I was taking it as in, like, something terrible is going to come that's going to make everything else look like nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just not gonna. I'm not losing hope.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I'm
That's
not gonna
right.
be black pilled. I'm gonna, no matter what, because I can't focus on the things I can't change. So that's why you guys need to be focusing on, you know, because I know, I mean, at least in my bracket, you know what I mean. You know, it's very hard to prep and try to build your own solar situation for your house. Right now, I'm just tinkering with stuff in the garage, which I would love to show you guys. So if you want to see content like that, let me know, I will definitely take you guys out to the garage one of these evenings, and we'll go through, or I'll try to present to you guys what I have. We'll see. I'll try to figure out the best way to show you if that's something you're interested in. But
That's right. That's right. Things are not going to get better. The Bible says that's true.
Right, and it is going to have to get worse more than likely before it gets better. But I'm not just going to lean into that and be a doomer. You know,
Okay,
I have
but
kids. I can't do that.
I
I have
know.
to.
But
You
is
know,
it doomer to say that this in-between period, this limbo spot that we're in, sucks? Okay, because it's hard to watch everybody, like half of the world, pretend like nothing is going on. I shouldn't say half of the world, half of the United States pretend like everything is A-okay, back to normal, nothing's going on. And then be seeing the things that are coming and trying to, like, adjust accordingly. Like, this limbo spot is difficult because you do feel like you're missing out, but you know that it's for a good reason. You know what I mean? Does anybody else feel that? I don't know. So, like, there's a part of me that is just kind of like, okay, well, I'm ready for the next thing, you know?
right. Which, you know, we have to assume is probably going to be the next. You know, who knows what?
Right. Who knows what?
Who knows? Who knows? Soros did not specify the study or research he was referring to. Soros-backed prosecutors have advocated criminal justice reforms, such as ending cash bail and declining prosecution of low-level offenses. The liberal financier said violent crime has risen more in jurisdictions without reform-minded prosecutors because probably they were told to go to the good areas now. You know what? Okay, anyway. And has been rising the fastest in some Republican states led by tough-on-crime politicians, like I said. Serious scholars researching causes behind the recent increase in crime have pointed to other factors, a disturbing rise in mental illness among young people due to the isolation imposed by COVID lockdown. Was it? Or was it from the sick crap that y'all have in popular culture in Hollywood and Hollyweird on the TikTok and those weirdos' personal lives, all the weird soul cooking stuff they do? You know what I mean? And so you have the masses, the popular masses that go to Travis Scott concerts, or, you know, young people looking at all this sick, twisted stuff and these weird conflicting sexuality stuff messing up their normal lives, where if they didn't have none of these influences, it's influences that's causing the mental illness, man.
That's right.
They're being influenced to mental illness, in my opinion.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
You know, also with you know, certain doctors that don't have your best interest at heart,
That's
where
right.
they're, you know,
Yep.
selling stuff more
That's
or
right.
less than, you know, because I just heard about doctors that were like, you know, yeah, he just prescribed that to me, you know what I
Right.
mean, because my stomach was upset.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Or, like, look at your doctor. You know, like, you went to the cardiologist after 2 pulmonary embolisms and a heart attack. Didn't even, like, he did not run the first test on you. He barely looked at you. He said, "So you're feeling okay now?" "Yeah, for the most part." "All right, well, we'll see you back in 6 months." "Well, great. Hopefully."
Yeah, hope
you know?
everything works out. Praise the Lord,
Sounds
though.
good, I think.
Praise the Lord, though. I'm telling you, man. But yeah, it can be. You know, hey,
That's right.
I lean in him. I lean on him.
Kelly says it's limbo for some of us. The rest are just blindly walking into the flames. That is true. I guess what the hard part is it's like, wait a minute. Like, I know that things are kind of crazy right now, but I still gotta, like, go buy school supplies. Like, we gotta keep up with all this? What?
Yes, ma'am. We sure do. That I have to keep my mind on.
Right.
There will be a power switch, and even if there's not, that the Lord's going to make a path. The Lord's going to make a way.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And so do we, Love to Garden. She says, I have family that are in such a deep sleep, we don't talk anymore. I'm all conspiracy. Yeah. Okay, you'd be surprised. I did my part to tell you. Unspecified Veed, are you in Louisiana? What's up, John Jones?
Love to Garden, look, same way. Like, I was, it sucks because, like, I'm very close with my family, but we have to stop talking about it because, like, they think, they'll say, I'm crazy and stuff. And I'm like, what's the worst is they're like, you get brainwashed into anything you hear. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right, we don't.
That is opposite. I am literally thinking about what I'm hearing. And
the mainstream media is brainwashing you into everything you hear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We don't believe every article we're bringing up here, guys. We're bringing it up to be like, some of it's like, can you believe they're actually saying this? Some of it's just like, wow, this is a blatant lie. And some of it's like, hey, did you hear this? So, I don't know, but crazy times.
John John's in the Red Stick area. That's very cool. Very cool. Dap, dude, if you're that close, man, I'm going to lose my cool, dude. Dap says me too. I don't know if he's saying, I don't know what he's saying me too, but let's move on. So, a pullback. Did I read all that? Oh, yeah. So here, it has a twist to the gun laws here. Okay. Imposed, so this is due to mental illness from isolation imposed by the Wuhan Wiggle lockdowns. A pullback in policing in the wake of public criminal justice reform protests and increase in gun trafficking, Soros wrote. Okay. Many of the same people who call for more punitive criminal justice policies also support looser gun laws. But, hey, did you forget? I mean, look, there were a string of gun store robberies. And some of them are still going on in certain areas like Kentucky, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Okay. But it seemed to start around Louisiana, Mississippi.
That's right.
So, I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything.
Next.
Home office contractor gives children hotel food containing worms.
Okay. Now, before you get freaked out, let me pre-warn you and say this is in the UK. But, you remember how bugs has been so prevalent? Okay, this is what I think of when I think of eating bugs. And I know that worms are different than bugs, kind of, but still all gross. All right, anyway, children at a home office hotel unwittingly ate worms that were in food provided to them by government contractors, The Guardian has learned. A 4-year-old boy, not realizing that his meal of fish and chips contained worms, began vomiting soon after he started to eat it. Paramedics were called and the boy was taken to the hospital. His father said he had experienced the sickness along with a fever for 3 days and that other family members who ate the same meal experienced similar symptoms. The family have asked not to be identified. They were being accommodated in a hotel in the Midlands when the incident happened last month and have subsequently been rehoused by the Home Office. Environmental health officers determined that the food contained parasitic roundworms. A council environmental health officer who was alerted to the issue said cooking generally killed these worms. However, I appreciate that it is an unpleasant experience to come across one in your meal, he added. Okay, but generally kills these worms? Evidently it didn't in this go.
Look, okay, I don't think we should be eating bugs, y'all.
He said he would visit the hotel to carry out spot checks. Now, I'm sorry, that doesn't sound concerned enough to me. Like it sounds like he passively was like, yeah, typically these things are killed when cooking, but I can appreciate that would be, kind of gross. But I'll visit it sometime coming up and do a spot check. That's what it sounds like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. You can't hear tones. Anyway, the family made a formal complaint. But another issue is that okay, scroll down. The father of the family said the incident was very distressing. The food in the hotel was very bad and we had to call the paramedics after my 4-year-old son ate the meal and started vomiting. Let's see. It's one of a raft of problems identified in the Home Office hotel accommodations for asylum seekers. A recent report from the Refugee Council found that a hotel used by Home Office for asylum seekers tripled last year, and that many occupants raised concerns about poor conditions. Asylum seekers have raised concerns with The Guardian about family members accommodated separately in different hotels. In one case, an asylum seeker was separated from her husband and 2 children aged 5 and 12. So that's like me getting separated from you and the kids.
That is not cool.
The father of that family told The Guardian, "Our children need their mother very much."
Y'all, I just pulled a tick off of me. Live on air. I had
That
to
is
kill it.
absolutely not
Well,
okay.
look, I had to go and take...
I knew we shouldn't have gone back there. Damn it, now I gotta go do a tick check.
I gotta check myself for more.
All right.
Independent Minnie, what is up? So good to see you.
Wait a minute now. The father of that family told The Guardian, "Our children need their mother very much. We have applied to Migrant Help, a government-funded helpline for asylum seekers, for our family to be accommodated together in the same hotel, but there is no response. Now that this case has been brought to our attention, we will work to house them together," Home Office sources said. A third family who were accommodated in a hotel on England's south coast by the Home Office contractors, Clear Springs, complained that a hotel staff came into their rooms and filmed some of their possessions without their permission. "They are abusing our rights," said the father. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. You need something?
Yeah, sorry. I'm like, well, that's the end of all my talking. So, asylum seekers are not being treated very well in all instances. Pray for these people.
Yeah.
And for food. And then another thing I was going to say is, guys, I know food's expensive, but it may just be time to try to start eating at home as much as you can, because other people are not going to care about your food the same way that you were going to care about your food.
I noticed that the care from the kitchen, if you go out to a restaurant, has gone down drastically. Everywhere.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about y'all in y'all's areas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But especially the closer to the bigger the city you go, the worse it gets.
Well, and then interesting, because I can't wait to listen to that farmer.
Oh, yeah. This guy.
Oh, here he is.
Yeah.
Because that's like one of the things that's been going around lately.
Warning from a real farmer. Beef crisis. Food shortages. Let's go. Texas Cowboy.
Is a lot of Black Angus have been dying off because of the heat. And that's kind of been in the news quite a bit, is these Angus cows dying and everything like that. But I think, what do you think? Just mainly because they've been bred so much, like interbred?
Well, they're an industry cattle that they're designed to grow fast and force fed. And so if you can get a 7-month-old calf, you can sell it usually in a regular market for premium price, for a good price. And it'll pay for the cows hay and make a profit. Okay, so that if you got 100 of them, you got you could almost make a living. And so that calf will be sent to a force feeding facility. Cows are not designed to eat grain. They don't have a stomach to eat grain. So it takes them about a month and a half to get where their digestive enzymes can break down grain. And so they're not going to do well, and a lot of them die during that time in a feedlot. So you've got 30 of them in a little square feedlot, and they don't have an outside restroom. So they're force-fed grain, and they also have to have growth hormones either injected behind their ear like Ralgro or some other brand, but where they'll put it in their feed. But they have to have antibiotics every day.
Okay.
And not once a week or something, but it has to. Usually they'll just mix it in with their feed.
Wow.
And it's going to be close to the fields where they grow grain, and it's going to feedlot's going to may have 5,000 animals in there, and small pens, and so it's going to be close to a kill or a processing facility, because when they come over to buy the animals, sometimes they'll use a sonogram to run up and down their back, and so the sonogram takes pictures of their loin, and they can count the steaks.
Whoa.
So
That
just that is
feels
it,
wrong.
it feels wrong, but I just think of like the crazy movies, like if you saw that movie in the 2000s, AI. I don't know, man. With all the talk of human celebrity salami meat, or like, all this. I'm telling you, a lot of cannibal articles have been in the news, y'all. Okay, they're, and they have machines. They can just roll up and take pictures of the inside of like what they want to take out of the cow.
I grew up next to ethical dairy farms and ethical, well, as ethical as a butcher farm can be, but I've seen how cows can live, and so like when you think about the fact that your food is eating food that it's not meant to eat.
That's right.
Imagine living on cardboard,
Right.
Like, I don't know, just interesting. Keep going though, because like he has more. He talks about the marbling.
And so when one gets ready for the steaks, and that, since they're force fed daily, they eat 24 hours a day if they can, then they're going to have marbling. And this is a market for restaurants.
Yeah.
They want that. Now, 100% grass fed beef is not going to have marbling.
Yeah.
Because that's not natural. And but it's going to have about 40 to 1 omega-3s.
Pause it. Okay, and so what have we, like, over the past decade or two, what have people been geared to really love? Marbled meat. Ooh, look at that marbling. Isn't that so good?
Some people, but I grew up with folks being like, I don't want, cut all that off. And they've always called it the fat.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what it is.
I grew up surrounded, like I'm talking Food Network too, where it was like, ooh,
look
at
at the marbling. Oh,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now listen to this next part.
And but it's going to have about 40 to 1 omega-3s to every 1 omega-6s. And if it's a grain-fed animal, it'll have about 40 to 1 omega-6s to every 1 omega-3s. And so the benefit there is omega-3s stop inflammation. That's what they do. Omega-6s cause inflammation.
Okay.
That's what they do. And so that's the health.
So boom, that right there. If you're eating a bunch of that fatty red meat,
right?
You know what I mean? And I love that. You know what I mean?
Right,
but apparently it's causing.
That's exactly
swelling.
what you were noticing. That's what we first noticed when you first started having issues with meat, was that your legs would swell anytime we would have a steak.
Let's throw this in. T, real quick, T-girl, she says, I hate ticks. I got bit by a Lone Star tick, and now I have alpha-gal and can't eat any red meat. If it doesn't fly or swim, I can't eat it. I'm highly allergic now. Well, look,
right.
Maybe that's what happened to me. Maybe, I don't know. For those of you who don't know, later this year, I had a lot of health stuff pop up. Earlier this year, I had a lot of health issues. Deep vein thrombosis, double.
You had two pulmonary embolisms.
Heart attack.
And then later had a heat stroke.
And so I do find that, like, it's changing my diet big time. So now a steak dinner to me is like turkey leg. I'll pick me up some turkey leg. You know how to do it just right. And they're like, from what you say, they're cheaper.
They are.
So, but I'm sorry to hear that.
But I noticed that anytime we would get steak, I had to get organic, no growth hormones, like the expensive steak, of course. But
Buck, I never thought of that. He said, remember the cattle mutilation phenomena. These are directed energy experiments. Quite possibly. We've been taught to trust companies with big sell labels. Just a word, read labels. Absolutely. We showed a thing a few shows back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where it was talking about genetically altered, modified,
biochemically engineered foods. Biogenetically, it's crazy. We were talking about that.
I lost my chat. Sorry. Take raw organic honey from your local beekeeper as your sweet tooth. I love
saving up. I want a beehive so
desperately want
bad.
to keep bees.
Yeah.
Desperately want to keep bees. Put them on the backside of the yard. You know what I mean? Hey everyone, just tuned in. Pretty sure I have late stage Lyme disease. It's a bummer. Ticks suck. I know, guys. Look, okay. I literally just pulled a tick.
Because right before the show, we went walking way back to the back 40, and
It's on there, okay? It's somewhere on there.
And anyway, because it's so marshy, the grass gets tall back there. And anyway.
I just cut back there, but up towards the fence. I didn't cut up to the fence, and I walked in all that. Anywho. So we wanted to show this to you.
Can we finish, though? Did he have more? Was he saying more?
Perhaps he had more. Would you guys like to finish this? I'm going to read some more comments. Grass-fed beef tastes strange to me, he said. I'm here to tell you without telling you it all. Read labels now. If it says bioengineered, beware. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Oh no, my chat jumped again. Mojave. Me too, but I think that's just because we're so used to other meat.
Really? Love to Garden says, I got food poisoning from
I need
Arby's.
to buy some omega-3 as well. But you can get that from eating fish.
I got food poisoning from an Arby's roast beef years ago. I didn't think much about it. I do now. And interesting, because, they were always, we have the
Watch
meats.
for bioengineered ingredients. Yes, indeed. That's correct.
Yep.
Tick check, time to get naked. Yeah. No, once you're done streaming, of course. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm off screen. I'm just kidding.
I got food poisoning from, yep. I love bees. I would love to keep bees. I would love to show you guys that. So pray for us to get some bees.
That would be so cool. I would do that.
All right, can I show you guys this real quick?
Doom break.
It's just a quick doom break. It doesn't really mean anything.
So while you're digging and planting your garden, some of you might find fortunes. Well, or money at least.
Okay, finally at 4, a South Jersey couple is $2,000 richer after unearthing some cash while excavating their front yard. And while $2,000 isn't exactly life-changing, the story behind the discovery is anything but ordinary.
I was just kind of grading this out, getting ready for concrete.
That's when Richard Gilson started hitting glass outside his Jersey Shore home.
That was actually in the ground, this jar.
Near the glass was what he thought were root balls. He tossed them to the side, but days later discovered something strange about the object.
One of those root balls popped up. Lo and behold, it wasn't a root ball. It was actually $1,000 wrapped in burlap. These are $100 rolls of 10s and 20s. And, he had them all wrapped up in a $1,000 bundle.
There were 2 wads of cash dating back to 1934.
When we looked it up, the value of $2,000 back in 1934 was $40,000.
Initially, Gilson thought the money must have been tied to a bank robbery some 9 decades earlier, but learned the property was owned by a James Dempsey during the Great Depression, and that the owner had asked his daughter to bury the money somewhere in the front yard.
It's a lot of money, but it's not life-changing, obviously. I think the story's more interesting, the history of the fact that this fella did this 90-some years ago. And people would ask me, what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm certainly not going to spend it.
Boy, I bet his daughter could have used that rather than burying it.
Good call. Gilson says he's going to keep it as a memento as the cash is
$40,000.
Do you think
$2,000
that guy
back then.
saved all that money for no one to ever use ever? Cool. All right. Well, that's what you're working for.
Too bad he hadn't buried precious metals. I was like,
that's right.
Are you sure it was just 2,000?
Right.
Because someone just buries one jar, right?
Right.
Just one jar, right?
Well, and I was telling Linda, I was like, that sucks. That's why inflation sucks. Because when he buried that, that was a fortune, and now it's like, okay, well, that's a nice little.
The key point to take home here is don't bury cash, folks. Okay, turn that cash into something like gold or silver that has more transcendent value. I pray for everyone here. A big happy family. My own family is rough. My daughter's coming to visit. Please pray for a good flight. Amen.
We will. We absolutely will.
Yes, in Jesus' name. Some of those bills could be worth a lot. Yeah, I mean individually, just because of their date could be worth more. All right, so changing gears. Dangers from blue light exposure worsen with age, detrimental to human health.
Yeah, that was another thing that we didn't get a whole lot of. So, everything is LED now, but we didn't get a whole lot of, what are the long-term effects of this? I don't know. It's kind of super...
It's another one of those cell phone situations, okay? Think John McCain. Okay, what did he pass away from?
Brain tumor.
Right, but, a lot of people, did get educated for a short time back in the early 2000s about, these cell phones operate on radiation,
right.
You know what I mean? cell radiation. Constant exposure to blue light from phones, and my correlation to that is that folks were just overlooking what the long-term effects of that would be. Yep. And now we've got 5.7 coming out. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Constant exposure to blue light from phones and computers is very harmful to people. Researchers from Oregon State University say the damning effects of daily lifelong exposure to blue light worsen as a person ages. Natural light is critical for a healthy circadian rhythm, which is important for a person's eating and sleeping patterns. However, being constantly subjected to blue light disrupts sleep and causes circadian disorders. Jaga Gablowitz, a researcher in the OSU College of Science who studies biological clocks, notes people are exposed to increasing amounts of light in the blue spectrum because LEDs emit a high fraction of blue light. This technology-led lighting, even in most developed countries, has not been used long enough to know if its effects across the human lifespan, says Geopolitical in a university release. There are increasing concerns that extend exposure to artificial light, especially blue-enriched LED light, may be detrimental to human health. While the full effects of blue light exposure across the lifespan are not yet known in humans, accelerated aging observed in short-lived model organism should alert us to the potential of cellular damage by this stressor. So I don't know. I mean, I've noticed that some folks, they say they're like 20 or something like that, but really they look a lot older. You know what I mean? And maybe it's these blue lights. I don't know. Or this blue light stuff. I know there certainly is a market for the blue blocks glasses. JP Sears, he's constantly doing ads for that. That dog straight. Good to see you, dude. Good to see you. I'm stacking gold and silver. Bro fist, Peter, dude. That's awesome to hear. That's such a blessing. 1934 notes are collected. Yeah, so really they shouldn't spend those. But do any of you see anything happening before Wednesday? I'm worried her flying now. Yeah, she should be flying now, something like that. So worth more. Peter, you're brilliant. Go camping. It fixes the circadian rhythm. Dude, I bet. They are putting these LED lights and street lights on all U.S. highways. Everywhere. I mean, there's LEDs. LED everything. And, of course, they have an appeal to me because I'm trying to build solar generator, trying to mess with getting power from the sun, getting power from the wind, 12-volt electronics, 12 and 24-volt electronics. And these LED lights of all kinds, they have an appeal to this market because they operate on such low wattage. You know. Totally understand, Love to Garden. The 5.7 will do it too. That's right. Almost all flights departing from the coastal Fujian region have suddenly been canceled. What? Say what? All right. Oregon State researchers analyzed the survival rates of common fruit flies kept in darkness and then moved at older ages to an environment of constant blue light from LEDs. The fruit fly was used because it shares cellular and developmental mechanisms with other animals, including humans. The flies were transitioned from darkness to light at the age of 2, 20, 40, and 60 days. The study involved blue light effects on the mitochondria of the fly's cells. Researchers say mitochondria act as a cell's power plant, creating adenosine. Triphosphate. Sorry, guys, not a chemist. A chemical energy source. Dude, this makes me want to go get one of those red lights. I'm not kidding. Okay, red light, guys. Previous research showed that prolonged exposure to blue light affected flies' longevity, including whether or not it shined in their eyes. Flies had shorter lives after being exposed to daily cycles of 12 hours in light and 12 hours in darkness compared to flies kept in total darkness or those kept in light with blue wave lengths filtered out. What do you think about that?
Well,
researchers say flies had impaired locomotion, Because blue light damaged their retinal cells, brain neurons, they had diminished ability to climb the walls of their enclosures. So, I mean, it just sounds like it turned them into zombie flies.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's what it sounds like. Kind of thing. The novel aspect of this new study is showing the chronic exposure of blue light can impair energy producing pathways, even in cells that are not specialized in sensing light, says Gubowicz. We determined that specific reactions in mitochondria were dramatically reduced by blue light, while other reactions were decreased by age independent of blue light. You can think of it as blue light exposure adding insult to injury in aging flies. Researchers suggest to combat blue light, people should get eyeglasses with amber lenses. This filters out blue light and protects your retinas. I'm going to be wearing red glasses, y'all. Watch out, okay? I'm not kidding.
You can set your phones, laptops, and other devices to block blue emissions.
Boom. There you go. It's not good. So we're talking about CERN again. When targeted, never feel fear. Try, because it makes it worse, right?
For real.
It does.
It does.
I'm good with no fear for myself. When it comes to my children, I have concern. That's right. You can't help it. You can't help it. CERN goes beyond Higgs boson, but trust God's got him, and leave your worries on him. You can cast them onto him. So CERN goes beyond Higgs boson, sends satellite to unusual orbit. Hold up.
CERN has a satellite.
CERN has a satellite? They probably created it. I mean, I know that they had something to do with the internet, along with the DARPA. Its flagship example of extending CERN applications beyond particle physics, say CERN scientists, a decade after hitting headlines with its experiment on the Higgs boson particle. CERN has decided to go beyond particle physics. Experiments with the launch of the Latch-Up and Radmon experiment satellite Celesta for radiation monitoring. The first satellite by CERN, it entered orbit during, we're not going to talk about who put it into orbit. Okay, NASA, duh. Orbit during the maiden flight of Europe's Vega C launch vehicle on July 13th, 2022. No, it was Europe, not NASA. And started transmitting its first signals in the afternoon, weighing just 1 kilo and measuring 10 centimeters on each of its sides. It's a 1U CubeSat designed to study the effects of cosmic radiation on electronics. Part of CERN's initiative, Radiation to Electronics, or R2E, the satellite carries a space Radmon, a miniature version of radiation monitoring device deployed in CERN's Large Hadron Collider. What's catching one's eye is that the Celestia has been sent into an Earth orbit of almost 6,000 kilometers away from Earth, I guess, right in the middle of the inner Van Allen belt. So they're studying the Van Allen belt.
To survey an unusual orbit where radiation levels are at their highest. It's a flagship example of extending CERN applications beyond particle physics, says CERN scientist. Prior to its launch, the Celestia satellite was tested in CHARM, a CERN mixed field facility capable of reproducing the radiation environment of low Earth orbit.
Yeah. The facility is capable of testing satellites all at once rather than component by component, and remarkably different from other irradiation test facilities. It offers a simple, low-cost alternative and the possibility to assess system-level effects, says Salvatore Danzeca, CHARM facility coordinator. CHARM.
We don't have to keep going on.
No,
but
we don't. I'm just saying CERN has a satellite.
That's right.
And I didn't know that, and maybe y'all didn't know that, and maybe you know that now, and that they're testing the Van Allen radiation belt.
Right.
That might come up in future news.
That's
we have no
right.
idea.
And now you know.
And so we're moving on. A mysterious metallic orb falls on Mexico, may contain valuable information, meteorologist says. A specialized team at the Secretary of the Navy of Mexico and or the Secretary of National Defense needs to collect it and turn it in for special study. So this is the orb?
Evidently.
A prominent meteorologist says that a bizarre metal orb
emblazoned
there you
with
go.
secret code and perhaps containing valuable information inside fell from the sky onto a tree in Veracruz, Mexico just before midnight Sunday night, creating a firestorm of intrigue on social media and in local media. The meteorologist Isidro Cano Luna called the Mexican Navy to study the orb. Luna, a television meteorologist whose catchphrase is, "Weather is also news." Yeah, that's true.
Weather is also news.
Yeah, that's a good way. And always types and capital letters wrote that the metallic sphere fell on top of a tree at 10 p.m. in Lomas del Rio Medio neighborhood in Veracruz, a city of 600,000 people. Lots of sixes.
On the Gulf of Mexico.
In the southeast corner of the country.
That's right.
Okay, so it appears to be made of a very hard plastic or an alloy of
Hold
various
up, I thought y'all
metals.
said it was metal.
And apparently it has an antenna. So, like, one would assume it's man-made.
It's the Martian. It's the Martian.
Keep scrolling down. Do we get any resolution to this?
No. Oh. Looking for a video. Sorry. Here we go. Back up. He said that people who saw it falling from the sky said it emitted a sound but no fire. He speculated that it could be part of the Chinese rocket that crashed into Earth over the weekend. Personal suggestion, do not touch it or get close to it until it is reviewed by specialists. It may be radioactive.
Or Superman could be inside. Isn't that how he came to Earth?
Or this is how the day the Earth stood still started.
He's a baby.
Remember the orbs?
In the orb. Okay, you open the orb up, all right? And there's a little baby inside. Okay?
Let's see. The story got far more interesting an hour later in his second post. Following up on the metallic sphere that fell on top of a tree, Luna wrote, it should not be opened or tried to be opened. A specialized team at the Secretary of the Navy of Mexico or the Secretary of National Defense needs to collect it and turn it in for special study. On the outside of the sphere, there is a code, but no hole or slit through which it could be opened. These spheres have a timing mechanism that a certain time they open by themselves and show the valuable information they have inside. What the heck is going on?
I don't know.
First off, how do you know it? Like, how do you know it has valuable?
Hold on. The orb has become very popular story in Veracruz and on UFO forums with a handful of publications covering the sighting. None has seemed to be able to track down any more information, though, as Luna said, it was a banner weekend for shit falling to the Earth from space.
Did you say ish?
Yeah, well, I didn't say it. The article said it. Debris from SpaceX's Dragon capsule hit in various parts of Australia. Suspected debris from a Chinese spacecraft fell into the Indian Ocean and also parts of Malaysia and Australia. Some have speculated that this is part of a weather balloon. Oh, yeah, again?
Oh,
really?
yeah.
It's not a little played out? Part of one of these spacecrafts, or perhaps something more mundane. If you have seen this orb or know what it is, please get in touch. I already told you. It's holding Superman, baby.
Anyway, moving on.
Oh, that's a great picture.
When the stupidity reaches a new level.
I take pictures like that.
The Swedish Hampshire police would realise how ridiculous this is.
British Army veteran filmed being arrested after posting offensive meme on social media.
Why has it come to this? Why am I in cuffs? Because there's something he shared, then I shared.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media sites.
I'm not his.
You're causing anxiety.
That's right.
You're causing me anxiety right now.
Me.
Are you kidding me?
Oh boy. So anxiety is a crime now.
You're causing someone anxiety, so we showed up to cause you anxiety, and we're going to cause you anxiety all night in jail.
Evidently, I need to
Because of a post.
Right.
All right. Watch out, folks. Watch out.
Will me being in jail perhaps subside their anxiety, do you think?
The cartel got the orb. We in trouble now. That was so loud it broke my ears. Broke my ears. Come on. It's time for a new mouse.
The time for debate is long past. Climate change has become a climate crisis, and a threat has now become a reality.
1970s, killer bees. 1970, ice age by 2000. 1970, America subject to water rationing by 1974 and food rationing by 1980. 1971, new ice age coming by 2020 or 2030. 1972, new ice age. Seriously, I mean, does anybody remember any of these? Here's us.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in 89, New York City's West Side Highway underwater by 2019. It's not.
Maldive Islands will be underwater by 2018 and 88. They're not.
In 2000, children won't know what snow is. Okay.
You know, our daughter did ask if snow was real the other day, which upset me because she's actually been in it, and I have pictures to prove it. And she's like, no, I don't think so.
Okay, we live in...
So this is the consequences of tinfoil hat. Now our daughter is like, I don't think snow's real.
The sky is falling. A piece of it just hit me on the head.
A climate crisis.
She always sounds like she's about to cry.
Okay, switching gears.
Ready.
Proverbs 10. Hatred stirs up quarrels, but love makes up for all offenses.
Okay, think about that. So, like, when you're mad and on the road and stuff, you know, and driving any way that you know the person next to you is upset and you're just kind of making it a little bit worse, like, that's not working in love, you know? Stop.
It's difficult to
let people
remember to
in.
move in the spirit
Yeah.
and to be moving in love, you know, and to forgive freely as you've been forgiven, you know. So, but that, I mean, you know, a good place for you guys to study. It's time to study. Now's the time.
That's right.
Okay, Proverbs 8. I love all who love me. Those who search will surely find me.
That's right.
It's good news.
He is knocking on the door.
Ephesians 6:17. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Amen. Right now in these times, guys, we really need to be putting on the full armor of God and asking for the Holy Spirit to cover us. Okay? Because especially in these times, I need his peace, you know, which surpasseth understanding. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore, he instructs sinners in the way. Psalms 25. And then this one, if you wanted. I'm sorry.
This is red letters.
Matthew 5:43 through 48. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor, right? And hate thine enemy. Okay?
Right.
But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
That's right.
That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? What do you deserve if you love those?
Right.
For if you love them which love you, what reward have ye?
Right. Do not even the
publicans the same? So basically, don't even non-believers love people that love them?
Love them. That's right.
Okay. And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Let's see.
So like, and if you wave to
Here, we'll look over here. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Which, it sounds impossible, but, you can, it takes time working with him and walking with him and putting ourselves away, a little bit of sacrifice. Because, at the end of the day, intellectually, we all know something's coming.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
right.
What that is really the day of the Lord. I mean, that's really what's coming, is his kingdom on earth.
And let me tell you, when I don't treat people good, I suffer. Like when I'm not nice to people, I believe God gave me a gift of empathy or caring, and when I don't give that to others, I suffer for it, and so I don't know, that hit me today, and this was on my mind.
I understand. I totally get it. I have a hard time with it too. Love to garden. I would suggest being in the Word and reading. Where
I
pray
for blessings for my
a
enemies.
good example would be David and Solomon. See, I'm not a huge theologian buff. Who was it? You know the conflict better than me, right?
So David, Solomon. See, now I'm getting...
because Solomon was hunting
No, it was
David.
Saul.
Saul was hunting David.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean, and wanted to kill him.
I'm on the spot now, and so
no, you're
I'm
not on the
nervous,
spot.
but,
You're not on the spot. But I just that's the story. Go look up that story between David and Saul. And that's a good example for in a situation, because at one point he had found David. Well, he didn't find him. He found the cave that David was in.
Right.
And David, when his men and all made camp in the cave, Saul went to sleep, and David snuck up on him with a knife and cut off a piece of his garment. And then later on, he shows that piece to him and was like, that night when you were in the cave, I could have taken your life.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But they were enemies. He was there to kill him. He had been hunting him.
That's
anyway,
right.
Okay. I'm definitely...
So I pray for my enemies. I pray for blessings for my enemies, because in my head, if my enemies are blessed, if even my enemies are blessed, imagine
They're
what
not
blessings...
worried about me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's
Imagine
right.
what blessings that is for me. If you're not struggling at 3 a.m, you might not come into that bank store or that gas station. I'm thinking of that granny that shot the guy. But
oh yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of people that that it's hard for me to pray for, or there's positions that I want. Oh man, what a blessing it would be if I could just get this position, and I know that it's not for me. And so I have to pray for the people that do get it, because I want good things for them. Even though I want that position, I'm praying for them, because I know that they need to be there right now, and I don't.
And at the end of the day, God's going to take care of you.
That's
God's
right.
got you.
That's
He's going
right.
to provide for you.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And even when it looks impossible, he still makes a way.
That's right.
We've been living it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
And so I and when I don't know what to do, I just lean into Jesus, because and that honestly, he's who carries me. I mean,
Yep.
carried me all through losing my dad, going through everything at the hospital, in and out of the hospital. Love to guard, and I pray to lose his grip on them. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, rulers of wickedness in high places.
I also pray that God moves in their life for those that don't,
I specifically ask for him to
way.
get involved in situations that I'm struggling with. And then you just have to wait on his time.
That's right.
And cast your worries on him.
Yep.
So, anyway, with that, want to say we love you guys. We're praying for you guys. Smash a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Because, they unsubscribe and they undo the notifications. We need a little help.
Saying that earlier tonight.
If you guys could hit the notification bell, or just check it, because they do unsubscribe people. And,
That's right.
And they, undo the notification bell. But share us out with friends and family, like-minded. And, guys, praying for your projects, your health, praying for God to make a way for you guys. And,
I'm just looking at our dog that's so sleeping. You good girl.
That's right. Number one is just asking for asking for the Father to guide you. His guidance is in the Word is necessary. That's where you can really find, excellent guidance, is because, I consider myself not necessarily a very religious person, but a very spiritual person. I've been, I'm one of those that was never atheist. I've always, since a very young child, believed.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So my testimony, your testimony is your story about how God moved in your life or how you found God. But for me, that's it's my whole life.
Oh, right. Me too.
I've been walking with the Lord. But to be quite honest, that's not my point. My point is that those kinds of Christians like myself can get comfy and think that you know, maybe you know, you got the Bible like right here, but you don't really get in it. You know what I mean? And so every now and then randomly, just to try to get in it, I just like randomly open it and then just start reading and stick with it. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy.
It doesn't.
And then, but it fills up with.
But see, I'm the type, I love going through. So I was not well read in the Bible as a youth, and really it wasn't until you and I got together that I truly started getting into the Word. I've known and loved God my whole life. I've always felt Him there, and as it turns out, the way that I've been, you know, raised and living is in line with a lot of things that He says. But I was never really in the Bible until we got together. I love going through and like writing down genealogy, you know, begot, you know, and counting the years.
Well, that's like all of the begot stuff is to help you keep up with the families and the timeline. It's really about the timeline. That's what the genealogy is. But for instance, like one day I just opened up here in 2nd Chronicles, and it was about how God fought for Hezekiah.
That's right.
Which is an awesome story. It's 2nd Chronicles, I guess, 33 somewhere. And then 1 Kings chapter 18, Elijah, fire from heaven.
That's right.
That's a really good one.
Love to Garden, that is awesome. You know what? We need to be reading that much. That is great.
And this is a really good one, very powerful. If you ever want to read, just giving you, if you do, or if you're interested in some verses that I've been reading, in Joshua chapter 10 verse 6, start in verse 6 and go to 15. That's like, so you know about the movie The Day That the Earth Stood Still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well this is the one day that the sun and moon stood still.
That's right.
This is when and there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man.
That's right.
For the Lord fought for Israel.
And we just saw a news article a couple weeks ago that validated that said that they could find the date that happened. It's in one of our 2 or 3 shows ago. But anyway, well, I'll stop talking.
No. Love you guys. Praying for your families, your projects, your businesses, and for the Lord to make a path for you guys in these times. And be not dismayed. A lot of this crazy stuff, some of it must come to pass, but don't let it upset you terribly. Don't be dismayed. Yep. The Lord is going to make a path for you. He's going to have you and take care of you. I know it's hard. It's hard for me. You know what I mean? Because I get distracted and caught up, and then
I get too protective. I'm
or
like,
I get
okay,
overwhelmed.
let's not do anything because people are crazy, and that's not the right answer either. There's got to be a balance. So
that's right.
Anyway, we're all just finding it through. We love y'all.
Yeah. See you guys on the next one.